He who endures till the end shall be saved. You see, a lot of times we start a new venture and we get our toes wet, only to find out that what we were doing doesn't work, and then we give up. I suggest to you that if you stay the course, if you keep pushing and keep running towards your dreams, it will pay off and you will reap what you sow. I once read in my favorite book that says, "Do not grow weary in doing what is good, for in due time you will reap if you do not give up." Key phrase, do not give up. Keep going. If Steve Jobs had given up, he wouldn't have never invented the iPhone. If Oprah Winfrey gave up, she would have never became a global inspiration. If Michael Jordan listened to his high school coach who cut him off from the team, he would have never become the greatest basketball player of all time. He stayed the course, he kept practicing, he kept believing in himself that one day he will make it to the NBA. You see, life will hit you in your face and test you. I'm reminded of a good friend of mine, an entrepreneur who started doing the necessary work to grow her brand and following. She was growing her business, launched her book, running webinars. Things were finally moving. She called me excited, joyful that things were finally starting to settle down. Then bam, life hit her. Just the other day she called me again, this time with some bad news. She'd received an email stating that she had 90 days to vacate her home, or else. You see, life will test you. Just when your head is finally above water, life will try to pull you back under. And I asked her, "So, what are you going to do?" She replied back to me and said, "I'm going to keep going. I'm going to stay the course. I'm going to trust in God. I may not know where I'm going to sleep after 90 days. I may not know how the next 90 days are going to look like for me, but I'm going to have faith, not only in myself, but I'm going to have faith in my dreams. And what I started, I will finish. I've already started the journey, so there is no going back." Ladies and gentlemen, that's the first thing you must practice in this game we call life. Faith. You need to have faith. Faith simply means that you don't have to see the whole path. Just trust the next step. Believe that your efforts today will compound over time, and that belief will give you the drive to stay the course. Take Mount Everest, for example, one of the tallest mountains on earth, standing at 29,000 feet. Once climbers reach 26,000 feet, they enter into what's known as the dead zone. It's where oxygen is limited. The conditions are brutal and dangerous. What do you think the climbers say when they enter the dead zone? "Oh, great, I made it to the dead zone. Less oxygen and more freezing wind. Let me just climb right back down." No, they keep going. When an Esther said, "If I perish, I perish." Some of you listening to me right now might feel like you're in the dead zone, stuck, overwhelmed, like no matter how hard you push, you're not getting anywhere. But this is exactly where faith comes in. Just like those climbers on Everest, you have to stay the course, even when the summit feels out of reach. You may not see the nice car yet. You may not see the multiple zeros in your bank account yet. You may not see the business growing or the breakthrough happening yet. But that doesn't mean it's not coming. This part right here, the grind, the weights, the uncertainty, this is the test. And if you keep going, you'll reach the peak. The second thing you need to do is to be more intentional about your dreams and your goals. Success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. It comes from what you do consistently with intention. Most people don't fail because they're not capable. They fail because they're not intentional. When I made the decision to be intentional about motivational speaking and coaching, everything changed. And I started studying everything I could get my hands on: books, seminars, webinars, you name it. I invested money that I didn't even have into courses and materials. I shook hands, took pictures, networked, and made connections. I immersed myself into it. I got on YouTube and searched for motivational speakers. I saw Les Brown. I realized if I'm going to be serious about this, I have to go through him. So I did. I made the sacrifice. I learned from the OG. Then I said, who's next? Okay, Eric Thomas, boom, the #1 motivational speaker in the world. Okay, next, Andy Elliott. Next, Jeremy Anderson. Next, Inky Johnson. Next, Myron Golden. Next. I never stopped learning, and I'm still learning. I'm always looking for ways to sharpen my craft, to be more intentional with my growth. I consistently ask myself, Coach Richie, what don't you know yet? What's the missing piece that will take you to the next level? What's the missing piece that will help you elevate your speaking and coaching skills? That's when I discovered NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. I found out that Tony Robbins uses it, so I said, great, if it works for him, it can work for me. I got the course. I studied it. Look, I may not be exactly where I want to be yet, but I'm proud of how far I've come. I mean, I'm not at the top of the mountain, but I've definitely left the parking lot. Coach Richie, when does a seed grow? It grows when it grows. You water it, give it sunlight, and wait, even when nothing seems to happen. When does the caterpillar become a butterfly? When it's ready, not a moment before. When does the flower bloom? It blooms in its season. You can't scream at it to bloom. It needs time, warmth, and patience. When is your life going to change? When you decide it will. Not when the calendar flips, not when someone gives you permission. It changes the moment you stop going in and out and you decide to stay the course. Lastly, seek your own validation, not someone else's approval. You don't need permission from anybody to live your dreams, and I repeat, anybody. The economic era your parents lived in, it's way different from the economic era you're living in today. The other day I was coaching a client. I spent about 30 minutes with her son, and afterward, we sat down together. She began explaining her frustration because her son didn't want to get a low haircut. Meanwhile, her son was explaining to me how he wanted to grow out his hair. I thought to myself, so you spent hundreds of dollars on me just to convince your son to change his hairstyle? But this moment reminded me of something important. It's a different era. The rules have changed, and so have the dreams. People may not always understand the path you're taking, or they might try to change you to fit what they think is the right way. But staying the course means sticking with your vision, even when others may not see it. Just like that sun, you have to stay the course with your own goals, your own dreams, your own way. You don't need to fit into someone else's mold. Keep moving forward, stay committed, and trust the process, because you don't need anyone's approval to live the life you're meant to live. I'm just being real. I don't like wearing suits. I'd rather walk into a professional space with just a polo. That's just me. Everyone has their own uniqueness and what sets them apart. I remember when I was a teenager, my mom used to always love buying me suits. I had a bunch of suits in my closet, and it was full of suits. I never wanted to wear them because it wasn't my style. It's not about conforming to the expectations of others. It's about embracing what makes you different. Whether it's your style, your approach, or your mindset, that's what will define you in the long run. The people who stand out, who make the biggest impact, are the ones who dare to be themselves. Be yourself. So if you're like me and you prefer the polo or the long sleeve over the suit, don't apologize. Stay the course. Embrace your individuality and watch how it sets you apart. No one else can follow because it's your path. So the question is, how low can you go? How low can you go? How deep are you willing to go when things move slow? Success isn't about never stumbling. It's about staying on your feet when you do. It's not about speed. It's about staying the course and seeing it through. The road may be long, but if you stick with the fight, you'll reach the summit, and the view will be worth the height.